Another nice thing about this dashboard is that it shows persistence, and this is one of the few places we do show persistence, so this could be an important site for you if you're ever asked about that, and you need to communicate that with other people. So I'm going to go to the most recent year, but you may not too. I mean, if you are, for example, having to fill out a grant application and you need multiple years, you can go in each year at a time and get data for that year. Any region want to be in the spotlight?
2.
All right. You want me to call up a district?
Alice.
Okay. Whoop. Okay, so this is for the persistence grad year for 2010, and this year on this side, if you choose a more recent high school grad year,
it's
it's
because
not going to.
continuous enrollment, this shows
Yeah.
4 years of data, so we have to go back further in time, because
Okay.
it shows if students stayed enrolled. So of course, we can't know from 2012 whether they were
Right.
enrolled in 2016. It hasn't happened yet. So you see a lag, even with the persistence data, it's 1 year earlier than the enrollment data, and we are very close to getting this updated with the next year. So pretty soon you'll see 12 for enrollment and 11 for
Right.
persistence, but I think for 1 year persistence.
Okay, so here are the data for the for persistence that we'll show for any region and for any ISD. We have enrolled and returned, so
I'm sorry, I still don't understand the 2 different years and what you're thinking when it's telling us that.
this is the graduation cohort. You're choosing the graduation cohort, and here we're trying to find them until 2008 in higher ed. Is that what we're trying to
Okay,
do?
no, what we're trying to do, I'm sorry, it's, for this one, you'll see the most recent, we go to 2010. Persistence since this second year is actually fall to fall persistence. So if someone enrolled in the fall in 2010 and we found them in fall of 2011, so it's the 2010 cohort that we're tracking, if we found them in the fall of 2011, then they persisted 1 year in higher ed. For the continuous enrollment, if someone enrolled in a 2008 cohort and we found them all the way through, so it's going to be FY 9, 10, 11, and 12, if we found them all the way through FY 12, which is really fall 11 to spring 12, then we would include them in the continuous enrollment. So again, from that ISD, you had 75% were there the second year from the 2010 cohort. So if you look at the exact same cohort, that would be a really smart thing to do.
Yes. That would
You can
help.
go to
Okay.
2008. So did it update? Yeah, oh, sorry, thank you. Okay, so now we should see, so you had 77%, a little higher back then, from Alice that persisted up into the second fall. We found them in the second fall. And then you had 71% who were that's actually a very high 4-year continuous enrollment rate.
Okay, so
Okay.
the panel is split then. This just refers to this panel, and this refers to this panel. Well, I'm glad we did that because I
I'm
was
sorry.
misunderstanding what it was showing me. Well, it's a good question. So on this page, when you go to persistence, and it is nice that you can compare the same cohort to see of these students who started the following fall, how are they looking over time?
It's almost
And
like,
so-
why would you want to look at 2 different groups on the same page?
Right.
Unless you needed, I think if you wanted them, part of it is just to be efficient. You might want to look at the same groups, right? But if you wanted to see the most up to date, we wanted to have the most recent for the 1 year persistence. So
Right.
if you didn't have them on the same page, you couldn't do the 0808. But
Gotcha.
does that make sense? It seemed the most logical, but I can see why.
Well, for example, if you have a grant that asked you for the most recent data, the most recent data you have will be for into the 1 year persistence for 2010, but you do have more recent, you have recent data for continuous enrollment, but not for that cohort. I mean, you might have to finesse your language in that grant to explain that you're showing 2 different cohorts, but
Yeah, because otherwise, that's deceptive, I think.
it can be confusing. But just think of this page as 2 separate panels. So,